What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for upcoming dancers, choreographers, and creatives. So I'm about to edit this video right now actually, and I felt like just saying before getting into the main bits of this that, you know, all of our journeys are different, all of our stories are different, so there's no need to compare what one person's doing to another, you know. You have your own goals, your own visions, your own, you know, way of doing things in life. So feel free to just follow it as you are, you know. Also, you know, of course this is such a short video, so there's so many details that, you know, can't be fit into this short 10-minute video. So if there are gaps in the story or there's things that you feel like aren't so clear, you know, always feel free to hit me up or comment down below whatever you want to do. Cool? There's not much going to be happening visually in this video. It's pretty much just me talking to you guys. So feel free to open up a new tab or whatever if you're watching on your phone. Just listen to it podcast style. And yeah, we'll just jump right back in. So this video is going to be a little more off-centered compared to those other 5 that I released earlier. So for this next few series of videos, it's going to be less about how-to and dance resources, but it's going to be more just about my own personal story of how I'm at where I am now with dance. So yeah, it's not going to be a how-to video, but hopefully it'll be just as enlightening, possibly entertaining, and yeah, maybe it'll help you out in some sort of a way too. So this is like loosely scripted, like I have like the general gist of it written down, but honestly wherever the conversation kind of goes and wherever it kind of takes us, we'll see how I can kind of edit it down from there and give you guys a story slash a little background about me that still makes sense but is, you know, still helpful and entertaining at the same time. So yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be talking about my highest of highs in dance to a lot of lowest of lows that I just had in my personal journey, but all in all it's, you know, one and the same. So this is my life story of my personal dance journey after college. So, story time. So if you don't know me personally, let me reintroduce myself. My name is James. I'm 24 years old. I graduated from Stony Brook University over in Long Island, New York. Graduated after 4 years of undergrad with a degree in business management, focusing on marketing with a minor in computer science. Originally when I applied to college and got into school, I was a computer science major. I was just in love with the idea of being able to create something pretty much out of nothing, like just typing random shiz into a computer and then magically things just happened, and I thought that was just so cool. I also just really liked computers in general. I feel like I just, you know, somehow I just equated, you know, playing video games, like playing Warcraft 3 and MapleStory, and somehow that equated to majoring in computer science somehow. But yeah, after 2 years of computer science, I just realized it really wasn't the environment or the subject that I thought was for me. It just wasn't fulfilling in the sort of way that I was hoping for. I think what really pushed it was this one instance when I pulled an all-nighter working on this final project for the end of the semester, and it was just one of the roughest all-nighters like ever. It was just me, I remember, in like the atrium of our library, and it was just cold, it was dark, and the next morning when I finished the project, which wasn't even really finished, it was raining, and it was like the worst walk of shame back to my dorm. And that whole walk I was just thinking like, dang, like, is this what I'm trying to do with my life? And so after talking with my friends, my family, friends who were in different majors, the same major, I ended up swapping into business management with the idea that I can now be in a degree or get a degree that was more open-ended, right? That could be in a different field, that can be in pretty much any field that I wanted it to be in. And what I enjoyed about the idea of business management was pretty much the same as computer science, was that you can essentially build something out of nothing, right? So luckily I managed to graduate on time still, even after switching from computer science, and I was even more lucky that I could turn those credits I was using for the major and convert it into minor credits so I can graduate with that minor in computer science. So at this point in time, right, I'm doing PUSO Modern, I am hanging out with friends, like it's pretty smooth sailing from there, like around my senior year. And so I'm thinking like, okay, cool, like I have it decently figured out, right? I can just pick up whatever job with this business management degree and, I'll start entry level and I'll just work my way up and just, do life from there, right? I'd go get a regular job, I would dance on the side, and life would be good. Right? Wrong. So now here comes part 2, right? It's post-graduation. So if you've graduated college, or honestly just been in any situation or living experience for just a good amount of years, you know that transition, that period afterwards is just a whole lot of change in a really short amount of time. You get this feeling, right? You get the feeling of what do I do now? How did it get here? What are my friends doing right now too? So yeah, I was feeling a little stuck right after college. Totally normal, and I knew that. So right after college, there was this mix of, this complete freedom, being free from, studying, from school, being able to focus on what I wanted to focus on, right? But also feeling kind of lost because I didn't even know what I wanted to focus on, right? I didn't lay those goals out so specifically. I just wanted to have a job, right? That's all I really wanted. So when that magic of freedom wore off and that feeling of floating and wandering kind of, picked up the pace and kind of set in a little bit more, I knew that I needed to kind of refresh and find something different that would kind of reboot what I wanted to do. So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, he probably took a vacation, or he went on a trip, or he hung out with friends for a little bit for a couple weekends or for a couple weeks, and then he picked it back up and he was back, right? That's pretty normal, right? Also wrong. I packed my bags, I relocated across the country, and I lived in Anaheim for 6 months, where I was now working at Disneyland on Finding Nemo's submarine voyage. So yeah, if you're one of those people who have told me that I sound like a cartoon character or someone who would work at Disneyland, you're right, because I have worked there. And it was okay. So then you're like, okay, that's weird. All right, that's cool, I guess. You moved to California for 6 months, did something new. That's fresh, right? Along those lines, I pretty much packed it up and moved out there because I wanted to, detach myself from the scene a little bit here in New York, because I just wanted to train a little differently. I wanted to see things a little bit differently, since all I really knew about life and dance, right, in general, was that we have teams in New York, we have these studios in New York, these competitions, but what else is out there, So I did this soft reset on life, right? I moved out to Anaheim. I didn't have a car. I didn't really know anybody. I knew a couple people because I worked at Building Block at the time still. And I had a couple friends who were based out in California, but I really did not know anybody in Anaheim at all, and I especially didn't know anybody in the program itself that I was in, that Disney college program, even though I graduated college, but whole different deal. All I knew at that point was that I was now employed at Disneyland for 40 hours a week, working on these submarines, driving them around in a circle, and telling people to watch their head and watch their step. But I also knew that I was there because I wanted to dance, right? I wanted to see what was out there. I wanted to see what was going down in California, in the SoCal scene, and just the general not New York scene, right? And so I did, right? I went around to different studios. I went around to different teams. I even auditioned for GRV with Angie, like way back when. And I didn't make it to the team. Angie did for that one season, which is so dope. But I'm actually glad that I didn't get on, because I feel like the experiences that I got afterwards, which I'm going to talk about, I don't think those would have been possible if I was spending so much time on a team. I even wanted to audition for Team Millennia too, but I remember talking to like one of the directors before, and you had to be there for a whole year to audition. So that didn't work out either, but oh well. So anyways, at the same time, while I was there, even though I came in with the idea that I wanted to refresh, the first 2-3 months were actually really tough. The lack of friends, lack of family around, just the whole different experience, being in a completely different, life/social bubble, it really took a toll on me like mentally and emotionally 100%. At the time, I would totally disregard or like shoot it down when people, you know, they would actually ask me like, James, you like kind of sleep in like 12 hours a day, you know, like you don't really go out much. Like, are you okay? Like, I remember my roommate at the time, he literally asked me like, yo, James, like, are you depressed? And if you know me, like, I shake things off a lot. I go like, nah, like, what are you talking about? You know, like, that's dumb, you know? I like avoiding these things usually with humor because that's more of who I am as a person. And honestly, at the time, I didn't think that was the deal, right? I didn't think I had some sort of a problem, or I didn't think that life was hitting me that hard. But in retrospect now, I feel like I definitely was struggling a bit with myself, with just this depression, with, you know, all these different factors that I was kind of pushing to the side. It was like relationships with my friends at home, with even my family, with just relationships there in California. I was trying pretty hard to not even connect with people. You know, I was saying like, I'm only here for 6 months, so why should I invest my time or try to plant myself in a new church or a new social group or whatever. Yeah, but then over time, it picked up, you know, like I think after 2-3 months, I guess like once it got around to like October, I would say, things became a little more normal, right? Like life kind of settled down and I found like a kind of this new set of friends there, and I was able to kind of just open up, you know. And I think also the help of my friends back at home just helping me out too, and my family helping me out too, it made life cruise a little bit better, you know. So never in my life until I guess that point did I really take life like day by day. I didn't really plan out my schedules. I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I just knew that I had work starting at like 5 a.m. I'd get out at like 2 after that opening shift, and then I would just do whatever, right? I would either go train at ML or Kinja's Dojo or wherever, whenever I felt like it. I would just take an Uber and go, or I would just go sign in at Disneyland and ride some rides and then go home and feel good. Every day was pretty spontaneous compared to the last, and it just kept being more spontaneous as it went. So through that spontaneity, I feel like I realized that most of the things that I wanted to do after work were trending towards dance and wanting to do dance and just dance, period. Done. I realized I love this feeling of just surrounding myself in people who love dance, realizing that I could connect with people and make friends with just strangers just by dancing, you know what I mean? Didn't have to connect in any other sort of a way besides the fact that we just loved music and we loved dancing, and that was it. The easiest way to connect with people. So towards the end of those 6 months, right, because it was only like a contract job, I thought about the kind of place that I wanted to set up back at home. I was thinking about all these different things that were happening in California, right? There was Happiness Is Now with Danny Batamana. There were all these teams that were happening. There were these competitions that were literally like booming with family, friends, like everyone and their moms would go out and support at these competitions no matter what the size was. And this sense of community that was out there, I'm not gonna say it was, you know, better or worse, but I am gonna say that it was just straight different from what we had or what we have back here in New York. And so I wanted to apply those experiences that I was having and see if there was a way to build something back at home just based around or using influences out of what I took out of being in California. I think out of everything, I wanted people to be able to find a place that they could have this feeling, right? The same sort of feeling that I had with connection, that you could just go, if you were a complete stranger, you can go by yourself. You don't have to bring a friend. You can just go to this spot and feel connected, feel plugged in. So eventually, right, I was brainstorming this idea all throughout the month of December and talking to some friends about it and just figuring it out on what this would look like. And eventually it became just an idea that I knew I couldn't plan the whole thing, right? I couldn't think about the whole thing, create it from the get-go. It was just something that you just had to launch and then kind of just let it run and see where it kind of led to. So if you're here in New York, you probably guessed it, but yeah, that spot now for me is Sandbox NYC. Now, of course, Sandbox right now is still a baby to me. Even though we've been around for, what, a little bit more over a year and a half almost, like almost 2 years, I still consider Sandbox a baby. Barely even crawling in that sense. It's a start, right? I feel like for me, Sandbox is just representative of the idea that if something doesn't exist yet, there's no reason why you can't go out and do it yourself, right? There's no reason why we have to sit at home and be like, I wish this was the case, or I have a problem with that thing or this thing, and then just let it be, right? Like, if we want to create something or build something, yeah, it's hard and takes a lot of time and effort, but if you're willing to lay down that foundation, then, you know, why wouldn't we? So in January 2018, I was home, I was ready to go, and Sandbox NYC was born. You know, I was pumped, right? I was home, my friends are around, I'm finally out of my Nemo costume, like I'm good, right? I'm freaking pumped. I was feeling ready to freaking, you know, change the world of dance and flip it on its head. But then, you know, like weeks kind of passed by, months kind of passed by, and Sandbox is still running, you know, but something completely foreign kind of just hit me from left field right afterwards. Something that I realized I was thinking about from the get-go, right? Something that I was thinking about since college, that was a main deal, right, on my plate that I wanted to do from the get-go. But I just pushed it to the back of my mind because I was in California doing dance and getting all psyched up and shiz, right? But yeah, something so mundane, so common, just hit me from left field, and that was my first full-time job. And boy, wow. So to cut it short for now, I'm gonna be going into that 9-to-5 life of what happened at my full-time job, how that affected my dance journey at the time, and how it kind of built me into who I am now. I'm gonna go over all of that in my next video. So you don't wanna miss out because it's gonna get juicy. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to my channel as usual. I know this video and these next 2 videos or however many is gonna be isn't exactly a how-to or exactly, you know, a dance resource, but hopefully again this enlightens you in some sort of way or helps you out, entertains you, whatever the deal is. Maybe it's just for me to journal what I've been up to so far so I can look back at it 2 years from now and be like, damn, like this is where I was, this is where I am. Cool. But yeah, anyways, honestly I'll probably just sit back down and record the rest of this, maybe even in the same shirt. We'll see. But yeah, until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you guys for listening, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace, peace.